So Hot Toys announced something on their website that they've never done in company history. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not opposed to it. And I kind of hope they do more of it going forward. Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video. And today we're going to be taking a look at an interesting news break that happened on the Hot Toys website. And this has been circulated around various social media groups, but this is directly from Hot Toys' actual website. And it's a project cancellation announcement. And it's basically right here. It's very simple, but due to unforeseen market alteration, we have been involuntarily to cancel the following projects. Number one is TMS 122 What If 1/6 scale, the Sicarian Iron Man collectible figure. And number two is MMS 723 N724, the Flash 1/6 scale Young Barry collectible figure and deluxe version. And it goes on to say basically that Hot Toys has reacted to the rapid market changes, and our team is highly disappointed to this unusual situation of project cancellation, yet it does happen within our production schedule. Once again, thank you for the support along the way, and sorry to cause any inconvenience. If you have any questions or concerns regarding this matter, please do not hesitate to contact us. Now, I guess I just want to jump in. It's been covered a few times, but I just want to kind of give thoughts about this. Once again, this is the first time it's actually ever happened. Now, let's be very clear. This is the first time Hot Toys has ever released a statement officially on their page canceling figures. There has been in the past figures that have been shown off prototypes and then just never made it into production. They go into the graveyard. Some of those end up coming, resurfacing. But for an official cancellation after taking deposits or, putting something out for pre-order, this is a first for Hot Toys. And I'm not going down the speculation rabbit hole about business and is there anything in trouble. They're not, there's nothing going on in terms of trouble. It happens, and I have my own thoughts about this. And specifically what this video is about is why I actually don't think this is a bad thing, and I kind of hope that this is something that they do more of in the future, which is cancel figures. Hear me out about it. So we're going to jump over. So the first one's going to be the Flash, right? So now let's be honest about this. Are we shocked about these two figures, that they decided to cancel these two? Did anyone wake up and see this and was like, oh, now to be clear, I'm also speaking from the perspective of I'm affected by this in one way. I had this figure on order. I was all in on the Flash. I pre-ordered every figure except the Batman and Cycle. But I did have this on pre-order because I really loved the modified Batman suit. That was honestly the reason why I liked it. And the sculpt I thought was a banger. Nevertheless, the movie was obviously poorly received. It didn't meet expectations, and that is saying it very politely. And then obviously you had the whole Ezra Miller drama that was attached to the movie. And to be honest with you, I remember when the first Flash figure came out, the clean version, a lot of people still weren't enthused about it. They were like, you know what, I'm not getting it. I'll get, obviously I'm assuming the Keaton Batman was the number one selling figure of the series. And then maybe even Supergirl possibly up there too. But people were just turned off by the whole Ezra Miller controversies, his attitude, demeanor, and things like that. So they just didn't want to support the character. A lot of collectors spoke with their wallets and just opted not to get that version of the Flash, and or those who did get it were just getting the basic version, and then because they didn't want the head sculpt or anything like that. So that's kind of where we stood. And then when we got this one, this even met with poorer reception, where people were like, okay, it's cool, but don't need it. Like, not needed. People didn't like the suit. So this was just, once again, just much more poorly received. And you had two SKUs, a regular and a deluxe. So bearing that all in mind. Now we're going to jump over to the next figure, which is another one, the Sicarian Iron Man from the What If series. This is another one where people are like, what the hell is this? Me, I thought it was garbage. I mean, it just, sorry, but it was. It just, I understand where it's coming from, but it was one of those like, who asked for this? Like, really, of the What If figures? Like, and I guess they maybe thought Iron Man, it's gonna sell. And I don't even recall if this was actually in the show. I think this was like in extras, so it really didn't have as much of a visual presence. So it was still made. A lot of people were just like, what? Like, why? That was probably the biggest question a lot in the hobby thought about. And so once again, now you look at both these figures and you're like, are you surprised that they axed these two? I'm not personally. For those who did pre-order these, the one thing I will say is to my understanding, refunds will get trickled down at chargebacks. You'll get money back depending on who you ordered from. If you ordered from Sideshow, you should expect something. And Sideshow's customer service handles. I know for a fact, I did the research making this video. The Flash is already off Sideshow's website. I didn't check the Iron Man. I'm assuming it is. But I imagine Sideshow will readily work through that process. And if you did buy it through another like a retailer, they should honorably take care of the NRD and or if it was paid in full. So for those, just kind of be mindful of that. And obviously this broke today, so it's going to take a little bit of time for things to react. I don't expect any type of refunds or anything to go out immediately, but it is going to be something that the collector will want to stay on top of, especially if you paid in full on these. But like I said, getting back to the reason why I think that this is actually a good thing, it shows another business side to Hot Toys, and it shows that they're willing to make the hard choices that maybe should be made. Now, obviously, we don't know a lot of this. Anything that anyone's putting out there is pure speculation. No one has any books. No one has any numbers. Obviously, you could say, Sideshow did. I believe the Flash went waitlisted on Sideshow. That could just mean that Sideshow had a low order batch quantity. That doesn't necessarily like really justify anything. Like I said, Sideshow, we know, has been cutting back on pre-orders because of 2020, 2021. They don't want to get stuck with figures. So I don't know if that's a proper gauge. My suspicion is it's just low quantities, and the amount of time to put into these figures, it made sense to cut them. Now, that being said, the reason why I'm not upset about it, and I'm still someone that did pre-order, so I was affected by it, is that this means that resources can hopefully get allocated elsewhere. Okay. The time and effort put into these figures that probably had low order quantities, they can reinvest into something else, the time and the effort into other figures. And that being said, I'm not opposed to it happening more in the future. Now, I don't want like 100 figures canceled, but if a couple figures get axed and it means that the quality on other ones somehow improved or got better, I'm all for that. Realistically speaking, I don't see them canceling a Mace Windu or an Anakin Skywalker. I just don't. It's probably going to be low-hanging fruit. I mean, collectors are going to speak with their wallets. That phrase is used a lot. They're going to, if they don't like it, they're not going to buy it. And this is an evident case of that, where probably low pre-order numbers. And like I said, given the circumstances of the figures and how they were received by those in the hobby, it made sense that they hit the chopping block. Now, like I said, it's another aspect to this is the business side of things that maybe collectors don't think about, and Hot Toys has to do what's best for them. I mean, I know oftentimes we think that Hot Toys is always listening to the collectors, but sometimes Hot Toys just has to make the decisions for the collectors. And I hate to say that, but that is what it is. And this is one of those circumstances where I'm sure a few people woke up pissed off or upset. But they did it for the greater good to get rid of the figures. And like I said, I'm okay with a few more of these happening down the road, for the sake of freeing up, because they're doing a lot of stuff, backlog, I'm sure. And honestly, not saying the quality suffers, but that Daredevil that just came out, that wasn't exactly a banger in my opinion. I didn't think that head sculpt was great. One could say if they had canceled a couple low-hanging fruits, that Daredevil could have been elevated to a better quality. Who knows? So that's what I mean by that is, if they're tied up with resources and, it makes sense just to get rid of stuff that has low pre-order numbers. If it means the quality on other figures with higher numbers improve, I'm actually all for it. And like I said, that's speaking from someone who I'm impacted by this. And so, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you think. Drop a like on the video. Please consider subscribing. But let me know what you think. Were you impacted by this? How do you feel about it? And how do you feel about it going forward, in terms of if Hot Toys would continue to maybe axe just a handful of figures a year? Would that really upset you? And if that meant the quality on other ones goes up, how do you feel about that? It's an interesting situation, but let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.